The Dominion fleet moved through space like death itself. Their black ships, each one larger than Earth's moon, had conquered 1,000 worlds in just 50 years. No species could stand against them. The Dominion's leader, Commander Vex, stood on the bridge of his flagship watching another planet burn below. The Council of Free Worlds had gathered on Station Prime, the last fortress between the Dominion and the core worlds. Ambassador Ray from Earth sat at the round table with representatives from 12 different species. The blue-skinned Corvan leader spoke first. "We have lost 40 systems this month alone. Our combined fleets are down to 30% strength. Earth's fleet is still at full power," Ray said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. The insect-like Thrall ambassador clicked his mandibles. "Your fleet? Earth has only one warship. The rest are cargo haulers and explorers." Ray nodded. "That's correct. We have one warship." The room erupted in angry voices. The Corvan slammed his fist on the table. "One ship? The Dominion has thousands. They destroyed the Arcanian Armada, 500 vessels, in a single hour." "How many battles has Earth fought in space?" asked the Thrall. "None," Ray admitted. "We've never been to war in space." The other ambassadors looked at each other in disbelief. The crystalline Xenon representative's body flickered with colors of distress. "Then you know nothing of space combat. Why did you even come here?" Ray stood up slowly. "Because Captain Jack and the crew of the Hammer volunteered to help." "The Hammer?" The Corvan laughed bitterly. "What kind of name is that for a warship?" "It's not really a warship," Ray said. "We built it for asteroid mining. We just modified it a little." The council fell silent. They stared at the human ambassador like he had gone mad. Outside the station's windows, the stars began to disappear one by one. The Dominion fleet was arriving, their massive ships blocking out the light. Commander Vex's face appeared on the main screen. His gray skin stretched tight over a skull too large for any human. His 6 eyes focused on the council. "Surrender now, and some of you may live as servants. Resist and watch your worlds burn." The other species representatives lowered their heads. They had seen too many worlds fall. But Ray remained standing. "Earth declines your offer." Vex's eyes narrowed. "Earth? The newcomers? You have no fleet. You have no weapons. You have nothing." "We have the Hammer," Ray said simply. Vex laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "One ship? Against 10,000? Your species must be stupider than you look." A new voice crackled over the communication system. "This is Captain Jack of the Earth vessel Hammer. Commander Vex, you have threatened peaceful worlds. On behalf of humanity, I'm asking you nicely, please leave." The Dominion commander's laughter grew louder. "Or what, human? Or we'll make you leave." The communication cut off. In the vast Dominion fleet, aboard 10,000 ships, every warrior laughed at the pathetic human threat. They had crushed civilizations that had traveled the stars for millennia. Earth had only reached space a century ago. Then a small ship emerged from behind, Station Prime. Compared to the Dominion vessels, it looked like a tiny metal beetle facing dragons. The Hammer was blocky, ugly, with none of the sleek lines of advanced civilizations. It had been built for function, not form. Mining equipment had been welded to its hull. Its paint was chipped and scarred. Commander Vex smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Destroy that eyesore." 100 Dominion ships opened fire simultaneously. Beams of energy that could split moons in half raced toward the small human vessel. The council representatives closed their eyes, not wanting to watch Earth's only ship die. But Ray kept watching, a small smile on his face. The Hammer's engines roared to life with a sound no one had ever heard in space combat. The deep, thunderous roar of human engineering pushed beyond all limits. The small ship moved, and everything changed. Asterisk, the energy beams should have vaporized the hammer instantly. Instead, they hit something invisible around the human ship. The beams scattered like water hitting rock, creating a spectacular light show that illuminated the darkness of space. "Shields holding at 98%, reported Lisa, the hammer's engineer. She sat at her station, calmly eating a sandwich while alarms screamed on every Dominion ship. Commander Vex leaned forward. "Impossible. Their technology is primitive." Captain Jack stood on the hammer's small bridge, his coffee mug in one hand. "Mike, take us forward. Nice and easy." "Copy that, Captain." Mike, the pilot, pushed the throttle. The hammer accelerated toward the massive Dominion fleet. On Station Prime, the alien ambassadors watched in stunned silence. The Thrall ambassadors' many eyes widened. How are their shields holding against that firepower? Ray smiled. "Humans had to deal with asteroids for years during our mining operations. Big ones, fast ones. We got very good at making shields that don't break." The Dominion ships continued firing. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, antimatter missiles, weapons that had broken entire civilizations, bounced harmlessly off the hammer's shields. The small human ship kept moving forward, steady and unstoppable. "Sir," said Tom from the weapons station. "We're in range." Captain Jack took a sip of his coffee. "Remember what I told you about fighting fair?" "Don't," the entire bridge crew said in unison. "That's my crew." "Tom, fire the mining drill." A panel opened on the hammer's front. What emerged looked nothing like a weapon. It was a massive industrial mining drill, scarred from decades of boring through asteroids. It began to spin faster and faster until it glowed white-hot. Commander Vex laughed. "They're going to drill us? These humans are insane." The drill fired. Not a beam, not a missile, but the drill itself, attached to a massive chain that unwound from the hammer's belly. It moved at impossible speed, powered by engines that humans had designed to punch through mountains. The drill hit the first Dominion battleship and went straight through it. The ship, twice the size of Earth's moon, had armor that could withstand supernovas. The human mining drill punched through it like paper. Then the drill hit the second ship, then the third, then the fourth. 20 Dominion ships were strung together like beads on a chain before the drill finally stopped. Tom hit button. "Reeling it in, Captain." The chain pulled taut. The 20 massive battleships were yanked together, crashing into each other with tremendous force. Their shields failed. Their hulls cracked. In 30 seconds, 20 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy became scrap metal. The bridge of Vex's flagship fell silent. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. "That was our mining equipment," Captain Jack announced over all channels. "Would you like to see what we built for actual combat?" The hammer's cargo bay doors opened. What came out made no sense to any military mind in the galaxy. There were no elegant energy weapons, no sophisticated targeting systems. Instead, there were missiles, thousands of them. But these missiles had been painted bright yellow with smiley faces on them. "What are those?" whispered the Corvin ambassador. "Party favors," Ray replied. The missiles launched. They moved in impossible patterns, loop-de-loops and barrel rolls, like they were dancing through space. The Dominion's targeting computers couldn't track them. The missiles were having fun. When they hit, they didn't explode. They attached themselves to the Dominion ships and started drilling. Small personal mining drills, each one carving messages into the hulls. Humans were here, and have a nice day, and this could have been worse. One missile attached to Vex's flagship, right in front of the bridge window. It carved a simple message: "Last chance to leave." The Xenon representative's crystalline form pulsed with shock. They're playing with them? "Humans have an expression," Ray said. "Work smarter, not harder." We spent 100 years mining the most dangerous asteroids in our system. We learned to make tools that don't break. We learned to solve problems with what we had. And we learned that sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't expect. Asterisk. Commander Vex stared at the message carved into his ship. His 10,000 vessels, the pride of the Dominion, were being humiliated by a single converted mining ship. But what terrified him most was the realization. If this was their mining ship, what would their actual warships be like? Asterisk. Commander Vex's 6 eyes twitched with rage. All ships, concentrate fire. Maximum power. Destroy that abomination. 10,000 Dominion ships turned their weapons on the single human vessel. The combined energy could have cracked the planet in half. Space itself seemed to scream as reality bent under the assault. The hammer's shields flared brilliant white. Inside, Lisa frowned at her console. Shields down to 70%, Captain. They're actually trying now. Captain Jack finished his coffee and set down the mug. All right, team. Fun's over. Time to show them why humans are the galaxy's most dangerous species. Finally, said Bob from the navigation station. I've been dying to try the new move. On Station Prime, the Council watched the tiny human ship disappear under the barrage of fire. The Corvin ambassador turned to Ray. It's over. No ship can survive that. Ray checked his watch. Give it a minute. The firestorm continued for 60 seconds. When it finally stopped where the hammer had been, there was only empty space and debris. Commander Vex smiled. Pathetic. Alert all ships. We continue to Station Prime. Sir? One of his officers pointed at the scanner. We're detecting something strange. The debris was moving. Not drifting, moving with purpose. Thousands of tiny pieces were repositioning themselves. Then they started to reconnect. The hammer rebuilt itself piece by piece. It had broken apart on purpose, each section equipped with its own mini-shield and thrusters. The ship reformed behind the Dominion fleet, completely unharmed. That's not possible. Vex screamed. Ships don't do that. Human ships do. Captain Jack's voice came through clear and steady. We learned something important in our early space days. If you can't be stronger, be smarter. If you can't be tougher, be more adaptable. Anna, show them what I mean. Anna, the hammer science officer, had been quiet until now. She pressed a single button, releasing the swarm. From the hammer's belly came a cloud of something. As it spread, the Dominion realized what it was. Millions of tiny robots, each no bigger than a human thumb. They descended on the Dominion fleet like hungry locusts. What are those things? Vex demanded. The robots attached to the Dominion ships and started doing something unthinkable. They began taking the ships apart, bolt by bolt, panel by panel. These were mining robots, designed to carefully disassemble asteroids for valuable materials. They treated the Dominion warships the same way. Within minutes, hundreds of Dominion vessels were floating in pieces. The robots carefully sorted everything: metals in one area, electronics in another, organic materials in a third. They were recycling the enemy fleet. The Threll ambassador's mandibles clicked rapidly. They're salvaging them? During a battle? Waste not, want not, Ray said. Those ships have valuable materials. Commander Vex watched his invincible armada being methodically recycled. Fire on those robots? But the robots were too small, too many, and too spread out. Energy beams designed to destroy capital ships couldn't track thumb-sized targets. Meanwhile, the robots continued their work, humming a little tune that was being broadcast across all channels. It sounded suspiciously like a human work song. Captain, Mike called out. The big ship is trying to run. Indeed, Vex's flagship was turning away, preparing to flee. The commander who had conquered 1,000 worlds was running from a single human mining vessel. "Can't have that," Captain Jack said. "Dave, do the thing." Dave, who had been silent the entire battle, grinned. Finally, deploying the anchor, the hammer fired what looked like a simple harpoon. It struck Vex's flagship and stuck. Then the harpoon did something unprecedented in space combat. It increased its mass. Not a little. A lot. The flagship lurched to a stop, caught by suddenly having the gravitational equivalent of a small star attached to its hull. It couldn't move. It couldn't escape. "That's based on our asteroid capture system," Ray explained to the stunned council. "We had to stop city-sized rocks moving at incredible speeds. We got creative with artificial mass generation." Captain Jack opened a channel to the trapped flagship. "Commander Vex, this is your final warning. Surrender, or we'll demonstrate what these tools can do when we're actually angry." So far, we've been polite. The entire galaxy held its breath. The Dominion, which had never lost a single battle, which had crushed civilizations that had existed for millions of years, was being defeated by one ship. One human ship. One converted mining vessel with a crew that was treating this like a normal. Tuesday. Commander Vex's gray skin had turned almost white. His 6 eyes darted between his remaining fleet and the small human ship. 9,000 vessels still stood, but over 1,000 had been reduced to carefully sorted scrap metal. His own flagship remained trapped, unable to move. Never. Vex snarled. "The Dominion does not surrender to primitives. All remaining ships activate the Planet Killer Protocol." Every species in the council gasped. The Planet Killer was the Dominion's ultimate weapon, a combined energy attack that could shatter entire worlds. They had used it only 5 times, each time erasing a civilization from existence. 9,000 ships began to glow with a terrible red light. Their combined power built up, creating a storm of energy that made space itself crack. The target wasn't the hammer. It was Earth itself, dozens of light years away. The beam would travel through hyperspace and arrive in minutes. Captain Jack's casual demeanor vanished. For the first time, his voice carried an edge. "They're targeting Earth." The bridge crew of the hammer went quiet. Lisa put down her sandwich. Mike's hands tightened on the controls. The entire atmosphere changed. "Captain," Anna said softly, "should we show them?" Jack nodded slowly. "All crew, this is the captain. They want to destroy our home, our families, our dogs." He paused. "Activate Protocol 7. The Corvin ambassador turned to Ray. "Protocol 7? Ray's friendly expression had vanished. "You're about to learn something about humans. We're nice. We're friendly. We share our food and our music. We'll help anyone who needs it. But there's one thing you never, ever do." His voice dropped. "You never threaten our home." The hammer began to change. Not transform, change. The beaten, scarred hull started to glow. Panels shifted, revealing hidden systems. The blocky, ugly mining ship suddenly looked very different. It looked angry, releasing limiters, Lisa announced. "Core temperature at 200%. 400. 800. That'll destroy your ship," the Xenon representative exclaimed. "No," Ray said quietly. "It'll just hurt a lot." The hammer shot forward. Not flew shot. It moved so fast that the light from its engines arrived after it did. It reached the first line of Dominion ships before they could react. What happened next would be remembered in Galactic history as the Minute of Madness. The hammer didn't use weapons. It became a weapon. The entire ship spun like a drill, its reinforced mining hull smashing through Dominion vessels like they were made of glass. The human ship carved a path of destruction through the enemy formation, using itself as a battering ram. Hull integrity? Jack asked calmly as they smashed through their 50th ship. Holding at 40%, Bob reported. The duct tape is working perfectly. Duct tape? The Thrall ambassador's voice was strangled. They're holding their ship together with duct tape? Military-grade duct tape, Ray corrected. The hammer burst through the other side of the formation, leaving a trail of destroyed ships. It spun around for another pass. But this time, it did something different. It opened every airlock, every port, every hatch. And from each opening came something that made even Commander Vex step back in horror. Humans in spacesuits, with jetpacks and mining tools. 200 crew members launched themselves at the Dominion fleet. They landed on the ships and started taking them apart by hand. Not with sophisticated weapons, with crowbars, welding torches, and power drills. They carved through halls meant to withstand cosmic storms. This is insane. Vex screamed. They're outside, in space, fighting by hand. One human landed on Vex's flagship near the bridge window. Through the transparent aluminum, Vex could see her face. She was smiling. She powered up her mining laser and started carving a message. Next time, just leave when we ask nicely. The planet killer beam was failing. The ships generating it were being systematically dismantled by humans who treated exposure to the vacuum of space like a minor inconvenience. The massive weapon powered down. Its threat ended. Asterisk. Captain Jack's voice echoed across all channels. Humanity offers peace to anyone who wants it. We'll share our food, our technology, our friendship. But if you threaten our home, our families, our world ... double quotes. He paused. We'll take you apart with our bare hands if we have to. The battlefield fell silent. 9,000 ships had become 4,000. The unstoppable Dominion had been stopped. Asterisk Commander Vex stood on his powerless bridge, watching the humans floating back to their ship like it was the end of a normal work shift. Some of them were high-fiving each other in space. One had stopped to take what looked like a selfie with a destroyed Dominion battleship in the background. His communication officer whispered, "Sir, the human captain is requesting permission to board." Permission? Vex's voice cracked. They're asking permission. After all this? 5 minutes later, Captain Jack walked onto the Dominion flagship's bridge. He wasn't wearing armor. He wasn't carrying weapons. He had a thermos of coffee and a tablet. Behind him came Lisa, carrying a box of donuts. "Commander Vex," Jack said, extending his hand. "I'm Captain Jack. Nice to finally meet you face to face." Vex stared at the extended hand like it might explode. You destroyed 5,000 of my ships." "Actually, we disabled them," Lisa corrected, offering him a donut. "They can be fixed. We kept all the pieces organized. It'll take some work, but nothing's permanently broken. Except maybe your pride." The council members were now gathering on the Dominion flagship, transported by the hammer. The Corvin ambassador looked at the box of donuts. "You brought food? To a surrender negotiation?" "Never negotiate on an empty stomach," Jack said, pouring coffee into cups he produced from somewhere. "Makes everyone grumpy. Now, let's talk about the future." Vex slumped in his command chair, his 6 eyes unfocused. "The Dominion ruled for 1,000 years. We were gods among the stars. And you can still be important," Jack said, sitting cross-legged on the floor, despite empty chairs being available. "Just not as conquerors. You folks have amazing technology. Incredible ships. You know every trade route, every system, every species in this part of the galaxy. So?" Vex muttered. "So imagine what we could build together." Jack's eyes lit up. "Your technology, our creativity, your knowledge, our determination. We could turn this whole galaxy into something amazing." The Thrall ambassador clicked his mandibles. The humans are proposing an alliance? After defeating the Dominion? Ray nodded. That's how humans do things. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want everyone to stop fighting and maybe share some pizza. Pizza? Several aliens asked simultaneously. We'll send you the recipe, Lisa promised. You'll love it. Commander Vex looked up at Jack. Why? Why not destroy us completely? You have the power now. Jack took a sip of his coffee. Because that's not who we are. Humans have a saying, today's enemy is tomorrow's friend. We fought wars among ourselves for thousands of years. Then we realized something important. It's a lot more fun to work together. He pulled up something on his tablet. Look at this. It's a design for a new type of ship. Part Dominion tech, part human engineering. It could reach galaxies we've never even seen. Think about it. Instead of conquering known space, we could explore the unknown together. For the first time in his life, Vex saw possibility beyond conquest. The unknown? There's so much out there, Anna added, her eyes bright with excitement. New physics to discover. Species we've never met. Maybe even pizza toppings we haven't thought of. The Xenon representative pulsed with curiosity. The humans would share their technology? Of course, Jack said. But fair warning, a lot of it is held together with duct tape and optimism. You might want to improve on our designs. Slowly, Vex extended one of his clawed hands and shook Jack's hand. The Dominion accepts humanity's proposal. The council erupted in discussion. The Corvin ambassador stood up. If the Dominion and humanity are allies, the Council of Free Worlds would like to join this alliance. The more the merrier, Jack grinned. But everyone has to contribute something. Recipes, music, art, technology, whatever you've got. Humans love learning new things. 6 months later, the galaxy had changed completely. Dominion ships, repaired with human duct tape and improved with alien technology, carried explorers instead of conquerors. The Hammer had returned to mining asteroids, though now it trained other species in the art of aggressive mining. Station Prime had become a cultural exchange center. Aliens learned human card games. Humans learned alien cooking. The Thrall taught everyone their clicking language. The Xenons shared their crystal music. And everyone, without exception, loved pizza. Commander Vex stood beside Captain Jack, watching the first joint exploration fleet prepare to leave for unknown space. I still don't understand humans, Jack laughed. We're simple. We just want everyone to get along, explore cool stuff, and share good food. And if someone threatens that? Jack's smile didn't change, but Vex noticed his hand, unconsciously moved to where a mining drill controller would be. Then we remind them that humans got to space by strapping ourselves to controlled explosions and hoping for the best. We're all a little crazy. But it's a good crazy. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying the new alliance toward adventures unknown. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were the most dangerous species in space, not because they were the strongest, but because they could turn anyone, even their enemies, into friends, and they had really, really good pizza. The end asterisk.